Hello creatives, this is John Ofo of John Visual. So in this tutorial we'll be learning how to create this kind of church flyer design. Without wasting much of our time, let's get started. Okay, this is the size we will be using. We'll be using 4 by 5, a typical Instagram handle. And please don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and invite your other friends that are creatives to be part of the knowledge you are gaining. So let's get started. The first thing we'll do here is to import our background. That is the first thing we'll do here. And the backgrounds I'll be using here, we are downloaded from Pinterest. The first thing I will do here is to enlarge this first background, so I will blur it. The reason I'm going to blur this background is to avoid my design being noisy or shouty. That is why I'm blurring the background. So I will use 10% to blur. The next thing I will do is to add another background. So I'll go to my file, place embedded. I'll select another background. I will also increase it, but this time around I will take it up so that this side that has the fire will be within this top left side of the flyer. So next thing I will do here, I will go to my blending mode. The blending mode we are going to be using here will be linear dodge. We'll use linear dodge. I'll add another background to it. So this is another background I used here. So I will still do the same thing. I will expand. Sorry, this is too much. So let me reduce the size of it. Okay, this is okay. So in this very background I won't be using my blending mode. Instead I will use my gradient to blend it with other backgrounds. So I'll hold my shift key from the top below. Okay, something like this is okay. That is something I did during the course of the flyer design. So I'll take, there's an element I added, being this. For this time around I'm going to take away the black area, the background. I'm going to take away the background. So for me to do that, I will right click and then rasterize the layer. Go to my property panel, click on remove background. So our background now has been removed. The next thing I will do is to transform it. I'll click Ctrl T, I will expand and then rotate it. I'll take it up a bit. All right. Okay. The next thing I will do here is to bring this very element. Don't worry, I will share the element, the link to the element where you can download the element that is being used. So I will take this element. I'll take the elements from here. Okay, so this is the element. Okay. let me bring in apostles image, the images that we are used for it. So the first image is this image. I will leave the size like this. Then I'll still do the same thing by bringing in other images. This is one of the images I used. But this time around, I'm going to reduce the size of it, of the image. Let me increase it a little. Okay, this is okay. So I'll take it behind this. Next thing I will do, I will try to fade it with the background. I'll add a layer mask, select my gradient tool, hold my shift and take my cursor up. Let me try to get the fading. All right, this is okay. The next thing I will do, I'll add another image. This is another image that was used. I'll reduce the image. So one of the things you need to know while designing is the arrangement of your elements matters a lot. So you must have this at the back of your mind that while you are designing, your elements should be properly arranged. I just faded this apostles image to blend with the background. So I'm not done here. The next thing I will do here is to blend this lower part of the design, blend it. So if I want to blend it, I need to look for a color that rhymes with the background. So the easiest way to do this is to take one of the elements here. Look at this element. I'll duplicate by holding my alternate key, then click and drag up. So I'll take it behind this. I'll bring it down. Yes, but I observed that it's somehow covering apostles face. So I'll click on this layer marks, select my brush tool, reduce the flow of it and then clean. I'll clean it. Yes. Okay. All right, this is okay, this is good. So I'll take his image a bit up. Something like this is okay. So next thing I will be doing here is to bring in my text. I'll bring in my text here, but before then I'm going to change the colors of apostles image to black and white. I'll select this image, I'll click on image adjustment and then select black and white, click OK. Do the same thing, repeat the same step with the previous images. So I'll do the same thing, black and white. So I'm doing the same thing here. Doing the same thing here also. Okay, so I've succeeded in changing the images, but I want us to know something. It's not a must that each time you are working for a client that you have to change the images to black and white. You have to look at what you are working with. If changing the image to black and white is necessary, you change it. But I love changing the images to black and white if the images are not having the same. If let's say we have numerous images with different light reflection, I can decide to change the whole images to black and white just for that uniformity on the images. And then along the line, I'll have to color grade all the images to have one color. So let's continue. The next thing I'll have to do here, okay, we have our flag. The flag. I have the flag. That is next thing to do here. So I'll select, this is the flag here. So I'll remove the background. I'll still do the same thing. I'll repeat the same step I did. I'll rasterize the image. Click on remove background. Please don't forget to subscribe, like and share, and then also invite your friends to be part of the knowledge you are gaining. Okay, so this is the flag here, but I'm seeing some edges. The edges is not smooth, so I will convert this to smart objects. Hold my control key, click on the thumbnail of the image, go to select, modify, and then click contrast. I'll click OK, then click on my add new layer. We are having something like this. So it's left enough for me to reduce it. I'm going to reduce it this time around and place it somewhere here. This is somewhere here. Okay. So let's add the Koinonian. Logo. So I'll reduce it. I'll reduce this time around. I'm going to reduce it this time around. Okay, but if you check something, observe that the logo is not showing. It's not that visible, so I will have to change the color. I'll change the color. All right, so this is what we have now. The reason I changed the color is for contrast sake, and one of the things you must know when you are designing, white works with dark, light works with dark, and dark works with light. So if you have a dark background, don't use a dark text. Instead, use a text that is light for contrast sake. So what I did there was contrast. I had to use white because white makes it much more visible for the targeted audience to see. I'll start. Okay, I have this touch here, this light here, but for now the light will be the last thing I will add, and I will tell us the reason I added that light there. So let's go to our test. We have a koinonia. I will explain how I was able to achieve this kind of tests. So let me. The font used here is Sharp Growth Text. That is the font I used here. Then this is the black 10. I increased the size of it. Okay, so I'm going to write koinonia now. Koinonia. I'll click on my text. Then at this panel, I'm going to click on this very text because I want to change the pattern of this very text. So what I used was a birch. I'll reduce the blend. I'll reduce the blend around 19. So I'll click OK. Click my V and then transform it. I want to increase the size of it. Something like this is okay. So let me move Apostle's image a little. Let me bring it a little bit down and shift it. Okay, the next thing is the experience. So to save us the time, let me take the experience. Let me bring it here. And the name of the font used here is Biloxi Scripts. That is the name of the font used. I will do the same thing with Worship with Us this Friday. So I'm going to take this Friday. I will drop here also. All right, so let's get our text now. We have the text here. Put the text here. Sorry, that is all right. Okay, so let me okay, so this is our location, the time, the date, the location box here. I want to bring Apostle's name. So I'll keep the name here. Remember what I told us earlier on, that the arrangement of our elements matters a lot. So I'm going to keep this name here. I'm going to keep the name there. Let me take this a bit up. Take this up again. So I'm going to leave Apostle's name there. Next thing we are going to do here is to add this light. is to add the light here. So we have this light. The reason I added this light, if I should, let's hide this, it's because that there is a lot of space beneath here, so I don't want it. That was the reason I added this light, and I blurred it. I blurred the light here. Okay, so this is the design. Let's add our lens flare, our light to it, to give it some touch of beauty. This is the lens flare we are using here. So I'll take this towards this side of Apostle's face. I'll change it to screen. I'll change it to screen. Take it, bring it out a little. I'm going to duplicate it again. I'll take it towards this side. I will duplicate, but this time around I'm going to reduce the size of it. I'll reduce the size and bring it somewhere here. Bring it somewhere here. I'm going to duplicate it again, but I'm not going to leave it here. I'll take it behind this image. I'm going to take it behind this image. Okay, yeah, something like this behind this image is okay. Behind this image is okay. Right, behind that image is okay. Okay, let me do a little touch on this image. Let me just add depth to this image. So I'll go to my adjustment layer panel. I'll click on curves. I'll clip mask it. I'll move this a little. Oh, this is light, then this is the dark aspect, to have this S curve. This is our final. This is what we have, but remember, we need to always color grade. Color grading is not a must, but is essential. When you are done with your design, you need to color grade it. So let's run a quick one here. I'll click on color balance, add a bit of blue, a bit of red. Go to my shadow. I want my shadow to have little blue and then a little of cyan. My light, I'm going to add yellow to my light and then add a little red to it. Next thing I will do is to go to my adjustment layer panel, click on color lookup, select this trace stripe. This time around I will reduce the opacity. I'll reduce the opacity to 50. To 50 is okay. I'll still go to my adjustment layer panel, select photo filter. I will use okay, I'm going to use sepia. Reduce the intensity and then reduce the opacity to, I'll leave the opacity to 65. Okay. Next thing here we'll do, the final thing we'll do here is to convert to invisible stamp layer by holding our Ctrl Shift Alternate E. We'll create a invisible stamp layer. Convert to smart object. Now after converting to smart object, we need to make this particular design pop out. I'll take this overall design to camera raw filter and make some adjustments. So we are going to do that now. Click on Ctrl Shift A to take to my camera raw filter where we'll do the general touch on it. Okay, so these are camera raw filter panel. I'll start with my details where I have sharpening. I will increase it to about 75. Now let's leave it to 70. So I'll go to my basic, increase the exposure a little, about 15. Contrast, I'll leave contrast at 7. Highlights, let's increase our highlights by 1. Our shadow, I'll reduce shadow by 8. Light by 2. Black by -10. Alright, so this is our texture. I want to add more depth, details to the design. 17. So I'm going to make use of clarity here. I'll move down to my color grading. Mid-tone,